Do you like this better than the Persist build? Too early to tell. It's too early to tell, but this deck has definitely been great in like my very limited testing. But it's also like, yeah, when you run hot with a deck like this, it's really easy to update Stream Decker. I should, yeah, it looks, I think it's up to date. Like, anytime you run hot with a deck like this, it's really easy to think that it's better than it is. So it's like too early for me to pass off any summary judgment yet. I also like maybe I'm like not mulliganing aggressively enough with this deck too. Is it possible that WotC prints powerful mythic staples like Ragavan, Vryn, force cards that makes sense to make modern more expensive? Like Legacy causing players to lose interest to move to Historic Legacy? No, I always, these like conspiracy theories, WotC is intentionally trying to make Moderns more expensive so people stop playing it is always so dumb, I think. It's just like... Wizards wants people to play the game, and they're taking actions to try to keep people playing the game, not like trying to drive people away. And like I don't think they're naive that these cards have like a big price on the secondary market, but it's also like if that was their goal, WotC printing powerful mythic staples to make Modern too expensive to push people to Arena. It failed because Modern Horizons 2 has been like a huge revitalization of, or you know, it's been a huge like pickup in the size of Modern. Like Modern's become more popular now than it has been. So if that was their goal, they failed. But I also think it's kind of silly to think that that's their goal. Hashtag, thank you for the 4 months, appreciate you. I think people generally just kind of like the Doom, you know? People, I think, generally really just like the Doom a little bit. Which is fine. Everybody needs a healthy amount of Dooming every now and then. I think we're attacking. I guess maybe I should have cast the Mending first. I was really hoping to draw a black card for Grief, but can't always get what you want, I guess. So if they have 2 burn spells plus Swift Spear, we either Boros Charm, Lightning Bolt, Swift Spear, but we don't die to Boros Charm, Lightning Bolt, Goblin Guide, so I think we just hit the Swift Spear. Getting to play, yeah. Also, fetch lands got like the price like went way low. All right, so we just sideboarded in this matchup. I brought in, oh maybe I didn't bring in the Dam. Yeah, I think I didn't bring in the Dam. Just cut 3 Jaces for 2 Marches and a Brutality. I think if I 5-0 this league, I'll just YOLO play it in the in the PTQ. Yeah, it's our Constellation Bird match. Why do Magic players hate Magic so much? I don't know. I think that that's a hyperbole. I don't think that they do. I do think that there's like a kind of silly amount of like conspiracy theory dooming, like that Wizards is like so competent that they can like perfectly manipulate the market then and shift players' interest to Arena over Modern, when in reality it kind of seems like they just, you know, are trying and failing to do some things, you know. I don't know. It's just like, but every time like the conspiracy is that Wizards is intentionally trying to kill the game, intentionally trying to make it worse. It like if that is the case, it just doesn't make any sense. It just like, can you imagine like that at the pitch meeting where it's like some executives like, let's make the game worse. Let's make people's experiences worse, and this will get us more money. It just doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they never make decisions that make the game worse. But what I am saying is it's probably not intentional. Okay, let's Grief pitch the Priest. Try to play around a Rest in Peace here. Okay, I think we take Rolling Vortex, because it stops me from getting life off the Griselbrand. When's my next budget deck going to be? Soon. I'm not sure. I want to do one because like a lot of the budget decks I was playing had Luris. Okay, pretty happy they played that instead of Eidolon. I main phase this? I think I do, because if I hit another Grief, I'm going to be pretty happy to cast it. I almost forgot to discard the Griselbrand. I do that so often. I just like, I think I've already discarded the Griselbrand. I just discard a different card. If I could ban one card of model right now, what would it be? I don't know. I wouldn't. If I had to, I would ban probably your favorite card. Okay, so I can draw 7 here and Solitude my own Griselbrand if I really need to. Okay, so we can go... I didn't draw an Ephemerate. So we can go Ending the Swift Spear. Grief the Eidolon. And then Solitude the Griselbrand, pitching the Ending, I think. Lava spikes me down to 10. Ephemerate, 1 card too deep. I do have an island left in the deck. Be curious to test some of her footsteps. Maybe 1 over Priest of Fell Rites. Yeah, I don't know. Priest being black and white is really nice. Footsteps is also like generally a pretty weak card. It's a pretty good top deck, huh? Aloes, thank you for the 6 months. Appreciate you. And why, in your opinion, is Team Rhino shining these days? Good matchup versus color Yorion. I think it's a close matchup against 4-color Yorion, but like the reality is that the Rhinos deck has been good for a long time. The Rhinos deck has been good for a long time. People just like don't play it in leagues because the gameplay's not that good, in my opinion. But yeah, Rhinos has like never really been bad. Just people don't like to play it in leagues, but they do like to play it in tournaments. Got deck tech for Dirk. This hand's good if we're playing its burn again. It's probably okay anyways. A little clunky and on the draw. I like to see an island though. Bound, Determined. Dude, I have to like tilt my head to read these cards. Other spells you control can't be countered by spells or abilities this turn. Sacrifice a creature to turn up deck's cards from your graveyard to hand. I'll just play Mystical Dispute over this card. I think. Well, this looks really good though. I don't think I've got almost like any suggested changes besides the Mystical Dispute over this card. Love it. Looks good. I think I'm just gonna pass here. Can't Veil. You can't Veil because it's a Cascade deck. That's why you play Dispute. Alright, Thankful for no Teferi. I find against blue-white control, a lot of times you just hardcast your Griefs. How do I feel about 4 or 5 color Bring to Light decks? I don't think I've got strong opinions on them. Destructotron with a 5-pack. Thanks for all the gifted subs, dude. I do appreciate it. Make sure you're not going broke over there, though. If you got a gifted sub from Destructotron, make sure to thank them. Okay, just gonna take this Archmage's Charm. My opponent's got 2 Path Exiles in their hand? Good grief. It's pretty good against the old Obzedat, huh? We do have 2 basics in the deck to get. We can maybe hardcast some Griselbrands. Played Gen Second 2K this weekend. Went 4-0-2. 2 IDs. Awesome, awesome. What do you feel like the deck is weak to? don't know why I'm blinking. I played so much of the deck. Deck is weak to turn 1 Ragavan when it's on the draw. And it is... There was like one specific deck that I like that was popular for a while and like made me stop playing the deck. And I don't know why I'm blanking, but I am blanking. I'm sorry, maybe somebody can help. There was one specific deck that really rose in prominence that made me get off the Junsack deck for a while. I can't remember what it was. Oh, Hammer Time's like not a great matchup. I don't know if that's it. Might be it. Okay, 1 Path to Exile down. Rhinos? Yeah, Rhinos is a really bad matchup. Yeah, I think that's it. Rhinos is the worst matchup for sure. Which is also kind of coming back. Yeah, Belcher's bad too. Okay. As far as we know, they don't have another counterspell, so I think I like just jamming. Tron Amulet. You have 4 Fulminators in the board, plus your Unearths and Cocos usually make those matchups okay. Like, not necessarily as good as you would hope, but okay. So if they go for Path, I'm going to draw, in response, looking for a Ephemerate. I feel like this is a screenshot. I don't know. Felt pretty good. So yeah, we had a bit of a problem sliding in this matchup before. We did already do it. I brought in the 4 Thoughteize, I cut the 4th Ephemerate, I ended up cutting the Brutality, and then I cut the Obzedats. I kept in the Prismatic Endings for Rest in Peace. I think we're still gonna do this. Okay, good hand. So nice in this deck too that like Mending gains you life passively, which is great for Griselbrand. Probably going Watery Grave, Basic Plains. They're on Relic in the blue-white deck? Weird. Maybe not Basic Plains because they got Field of Ruin in play and a bunch of paths in their deck. Interesting sort of the pros and cons of this first traditional MH2 Reanimator. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces, right? You know, it's kind of a hard question to just like rattle off the answers to, but in general, like I'd say this deck is more powerful immediately. Where like I think like one issue, and like this is not that big a deal, but one issue that the more traditional like Archon Persist Reanimator decks have is that like if you're like your opponent killing Archon is a big problem. In this deck you don't care nearly as much because if your opponent kills Griselbrand, they're likely solituding it, which is fine. They can't Unholy Heat it, so it's like Griselbrand is like surprisingly more resilient, and even if they do kill it, you're drawing so many cards that it usually doesn't matter. So like this deck is definitely way more resilient to removal spells on your payoff creature, although because you're playing Priest of Rites and Jace, you are more vulnerable to other forms of removal, which is something to not dismiss. It's also true that like Goryo's Vengeance being instant speed does let you play a bit better around cards like Relic of Progenitus. Like here I can actually go. I might just hardcast Grief this turn, but next turn, but like I can go Mending, and then if I hit something to Goryo's Vengeance, I can bounce the Relic, and they respawn by popping the Relic, and I respond with Goryo's Vengeance. But I do think it's probably better to just hardcast the Grief here. And they did show me multiple paths. My life total being reduced is bad for my Griselbrands, but I think I like this. I might even bounce my own Grief. We'll see what happens. Path, March of Otherworldly Light. Yeah, I kind of like just getting max value here. Would I play an Esper Triumph? I don't know. It's like, I think tap lands and decks like this are usually pretty bad, so I don't know. Yeah, Goryo's Vengeance with Jace is pretty nice. Your deck says have a lower curve. Oh, come on. They don't have Relic mana up, though. So I guess I'm supposed to be digging for a Griselbrand here. Oh, they do because of the... Sorry, they do have mana. They have the... That's a fairy on top. That being said, I can respond to a Relic activation. So I can't get the Griselbrand back this turn. Like, next turn I can go either Teferi minus, which I'll probably just go Vengeance. Esper Triumph over Silent Clear. Yeah, maybe. I mean, again, tap lands in this deck have a really high cost, so I don't know. But you also like do fetch on turn 1 most of the time, so maybe it's fine. We went 3-2 the first league, felt really good. We lost to Titan and Burn, and like, you know, wasn't much we could do those games. Shout out to Goryo. Okay, so why don't we start off with a Grief? Then I think I Ephemerate the Grief and then just Ephemerate the Griselbrand. I was hoping I could draw step Thoughtseize them, but I guess I can't. Maybe you could have just let, like, draw step Thoughtseize them and then let them Verdict and just Goryo's Vengeance the Griselbrand. Do something. Another Teferi. Alright, one's not 0, right? Does anybody know? So I can go Mending. No, I just want to hit them. I just want to attack this turn. So I will. They have one mystery card, right? Okay, it was just a land. Another Griselbrand. Okay, Mending. Let's discard, I think, Priest and a Griselbrand. Actually, hardcast Griselbrand next turn. I think I'll bounce here. Oh, I wish I had the instant speed Thoughtseize available. Okay, so we discard one of the Griselbrands. Fetch land, Courtyard. Second Griselbrand. What are the bad matchups? I just haven't played enough leagues to tell you. This is like my 3rd league with the deck. Like, we lost to Titan and Burn. We also beat Burn. I don't even think Burn's a bad matchup. Or Titan's a bad. I think Burn's a good matchup. I think Titan's probably not that bad either. Okay, out of basics. The ultimate win for a blue-white player, running their opponent out of basic lands. We'll take the small consolation prize of bringing back a Griselbrand and then draw step Thoughtseizing them. Deck has felt really powerful so far. I'm kind of hoping I just decide to play it in the Super Qualifier in a couple hours. I have definitely been running well, and like something that's important to remember when you are trying to evaluate decks like this is that when you run really well with a deck like this, it's just very easy to like trick yourself into thinking you broke it or the deck's, you know, really strong. I think I play Clearing just so I have the option to play Priest on turn 2. If I draw like Faithful Mending, I'll probably play Priest on turn 2. Boy Toy Troy at the 15 months, appreciate you. Hey Spike, want to let you know at my LGS this week we had 20 for F&M. We counted and legitimately all 20 were one of your lists. That's crazy. Yeah, see you at SCG Dallas. Yeah, I do feel like F&M is definitely... I mean, I think a lot of the decks I built kind of are perfect for F&M, where they're like playable, fun, like none of like a lot of them don't end up being like tier 1 or anything, but they do end up being like reasonable enough for F&M, and like, you know, I think that's a good place to be for a lot of brews. Did you play Priest with the Island? Well, that's why I played the Silent. Oh, sorry, that's right. I would have to draw. That's true. I can't draw both the land to cast the Priest and the Mending, of course. Yeah, never mind. But I was thinking I would play the Clearing so I could play the Priest next turn. But you're obviously right that actually doesn't matter. Shocked my opponent can't answer the the Jace here, and they have the worst possible card in Croxa, like the actual worst possible. It's pretty absurd. Our hand's not very good though. Don't get me wrong. Mending is interesting. I'm gonna discard the Grief, I think, and just main phase the Mending. Okay, well that's pretty good. I'll discard, I think, Solitude and maybe just both Solitudes. How do you think Lotus Field is against? How do you think Lotus against Besage? I don't think I'm not scared of it. Like, obviously, if I have Bloodstone Lotus Field, they have Besage you, it's not good for me. But it is also true that, like, there aren't that many fair Besage decks in the format. They usually don't play that many Besage, and like you're also like usually otherwise pretty favored against decks like Jund Saga, decks like Titan. Yeah, I think I'm Goryo's Vengeances. I actually have one up here. It's taped, but I've got a Goryo's Vengeance up at the top. It's pointing at a Bruna. Wait, they killed my Jace? They left me with Goryo's Vengeance? I drew Griselbrand. So I guess they're saying that they're not that scared of Obzedat because they probably have Unholy Heat, so I should probably just play my Jace. Outside of the 3 artifacts, you have 4 Ragavan as 1-drop permanents. HGA and Jund Saga. Well, the problem is that the Exile All Graveyards mode is bad with Wrenn and 6 and Tarmogoyf. So it's not just... And it's about the Shadow Spear and the Pithing Needle too. And it's just like... And you also like already have the Bane Deck Graveyard Hate with the Spell Bomb. So I think there's just too much anti-synergy. For a card that I also don't think is that well positioned. Like Hammer Time is really falling off right now. And like when Hammer Time's falling off, like I'm not of the opinion that you're really incentivized at all to be playing like a lot of HGAs. Hopefully my opponent's terrified to see this Griselbrand. Let's put opponent down to 3. Did Hammer die because of the Luris ban? No, Hammer died because the deck is literally every single player you play against is armed to the teeth with answers for Hammer Time. It's just like kind of impossible to play like a single league in Modern and have your opponent not just be like the most ready to face Hammer Time that you've ever seen. Do you think Hammer's still tier 1? I mean, the tier system is pretty muddy. Like, the deck's very powerful, and it is still somewhat popular, but it may be falling off. Like, I don't expect to play against it that much. Like, maybe once in the PTQ, but it's not one of the top decks at the moment, I think. Okay, this is going to be tentative, but this deck has just been so sick, and there's always, like, merit in playing, like, a powerful new brew at a tournament. Like, if you're able to like have a powerful new brew that people aren't ready for at a tournament, that is a good way to like take it down. So just very tentatively, this is subject to change, but I will just requeue in the PTQ with the Esper Goryo's Vengeance list, which is somewhere. There we go. Definitely like this is also like a really bad deck to play though, like being a streamer. Being a streamer and having opponents, and like if they know that if they know that this is what I'm on, like I do feel like I lose a lot of value, but that's, you know, the price I pay, I guess. So Stony Silence for their relics and their Nile Spell Bombs / lanterns. March, I think, is fine. Addition here too. I think I'm gonna cut the 4th Ephemerate. Maybe I don't want to play the Dam. Maybe we'll play like 2 Teferis. I'm gonna play 4 Teferis and 0 Obzedat. I think that makes some sense against the Unholy Heat deck. Kind of like this. I was gonna play the Just Guy Lotus Field deck. I think the Lotus Field deck's really well positioned, and but control decks are also really bad to play at. Play for the same reasons. If you ever run into a ghost, like they know that cards in your hand. I don't know. Croakies gave me some like really good advice about just kind of like emotionally dealing with the fact that you sacrifice a lot of percentage points by live streaming these PTQs. But just, in general, my attitude is I don't want to let a few, a few, jerks who are stream sniping me, stop me from, having a good time and streaming the PTQ and sharing that content with you guys and just, let them ruin it for us. With about a 10-minute delay. I've streamed with a delay before. It sucks. I don't enjoy streaming with a delay at all. I really enjoy engaging with chat. I enjoy sharing and the live reactions, and I'm not interested in streaming with a delay. I just hate it. Yeah, nobody likes watching it either. It's just okay. I'm just gonna take the L. Stony Silence the matchup. Yes, Stony Silence for Spellbomb, but also does sub Ragavan treasures and baubles, but it's for their Spellbombs slash lanterns. Okay, they hit a Channeler. Plays Channeler. If they have a discard spell, we're actually in really good shape here. They have to have like Spell Pierce to stop me. I mean, I think a Drown in the Loch is pretty likely. I think that I'm probably supposed to Goryo's Vengeance on their turn in combat, try to block with Ephemerate up, and it's really likely to get drowned, but then we get to text their mana pretty well. March the token, then Goryo's Vengeance, but then I don't get to keep my Griselbrand around. I guess that's kind of an interesting line. I may be able to March token end of turn. Mom, thank you for the 9 months. Appreciate ya. I might dress down. Dress down would be so bad because the Griselbrand gets exiled. Oh, but I could march the dress down. How's the raid been going? It's been going really well so far. The decks felt great. Looked great. So block first. Then march the dress down. Obviously, they could have a counterspell. Would be bad. Awesome, they don't have it. It's so sick. So we are going to lose our Griselbrand. We're going to get to draw a bunch of cards. Ooh, okay. So I didn't keep my Stony Silence. It's okay, I think. I'm gonna draw 7 more. If I find a Solitude, it's just kind of a free roll because I get to Solitude my own Griselbrand. I didn't find Solitude though. Dang it! It's 14 cards, no Solitude. 29 cards really. No, one Prismatic Ending, only one. Dang it! This was actually really bad. So I guess what I have to do here is go Plains, Teferi, bounce the Channeler, ending the other one. No, the qualifier starts in like an hour, 10 minutes or so. Okay, and then I'm gonna definitely discard the first Griselbrand. Those lands. One of the Ephemerates. One of the Jaces. I think we'll probably discard a Mending too. Okay. And so they have to kind of main phase the Spellbomb activation because I've got 2 Vengeances. We'll see if they have the wherewithal to do that. How do you feel about the Hollowvine deck? I like the deck. I think it's pretty good. I think it's like... I think people have too high hopes for it because it's like... You know, those decks used to be pretty busted and now they're just okay, but they're reasonable, powerful, resilient aggro decks. It's like, I really think people are kind of unwilling to play Hollow on Vengevine decks unless they're actually too good. How does your lowest field win? Usually attack either Ultimate Teferi or attack them with the Incarnations. Can someone explain what the Ephemerate package is for? So you can Ephemerate your Griselbrand after your Goryo's Vengeance to keep it around, which is pretty relevant. And also you have the, of course, Grief Solitude package as well. You can also protect Jace from a removal spell, which is pretty relevant. Okay, so we'll let them spend the mana on the Spellbomb first if they want to. Yeah, then the instant speed on Vengeance like is a really big upgrade over Persist on my grave. They're chump blocking? Yeah. What's the point of playing Lotus Field? It feels like a Jeskai control deck. Well, it's a lot more powerful. You get to make millions of mana. Bloodsun's also really good against Urza Saga and Titan decks, but it's like, you know, you sacrifice in that list some consistency for power. But I usually think that the trade-off is pretty worth it. And then also, like, Griselbrand has a very relevant 7 toughness compared to Archon here. So we even just, like, you know, don't get unholy heated. I kind of liked ending the Spellbomb in response to Goryo's. I didn't have ending in my hand, right? I just didn't have ending in my hand. What main deck Persist? Well, Persist doesn't get back Griselbrand or... I would be playing Persist over Priest of Fell Rites if it got back Griselbrand or Obzedat, but it doesn't return legendary creatures. Very intentionally. I did earlier? Oh, I see. Okay, so they're going to heat my Griselbrands. They must have double heat. Hopefully they just don't realize heat doesn't kill Griselbrand. I think that's what's happening. You only have to play an 8 mana creature for it to not die to your opponent's 1 mana removal spell. Alright, let the Surveil happen first, then we'll draw 7. Would you have blocked? I guess I would have blocked. But I just have another Goryo's Vengeance now. They could have another Spellbomb. They have a Shadow. Yeah, this deck has been sick so far. It is important to note, it is really hard to evaluate still how good or bad this deck is, just because when you're winning a lot with a Reanimator deck, you just really need to take it with a grain of salt, because these decks are definitely the kind that you can just run hot with for a few leagues in a row, and think the deck is better than it is overall. But we're 3-0-6-0, 6-2 on the day. 9-3 overall, and even like the losses we had were, you know, there's not a lot we could do against like a great Titan draw and then a burn opponent we mulligan to 4 against. I'll keep this somewhat reluctantly. Morning Sanchez. Thoughts on the Goryo's list versus Omnath X? I see a lot of Renegade Rallier. I feel like I think Reanimator decks typically have a good matchup against the Omnath deck, where they have a hard time mulliganing to Graveyard Hate, and their clock is really slow. That being said, I haven't played the matchup, so... it's obviously, like, still anybody's game. Oh, we're playing against Living End? So I guess we're probably going to discard unless we draw something, but Living End's gotta be, like, one of our best matchups. Tomas, thank you for the 9 months. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, I think it's correct to just next turn discard the Griselbrand. And then we can maybe like Grief Ephemerate or something. Do you see person posting 80 card deck that went 5-0 to forgot to put your on the sideboard? That's funny. I didn't see that. No. I once had a standard deck that I 5-0'd with like a 9 card sideboard that got posted. That was testing for an RPTQ. I did have sideboard cards. I just forgot to, like, for whatever reason they didn't make it into the list. I think like if you can have a brew that goes Botanical Sanctum Go, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna put you on Living End. You can get some value from that. They do have triple hexproof creature, which is a bit annoying. It's my Solitude draw, but at a Fever Dream the other day, you can activate Vial to put in Gilded Drake, steal a Murktide, or a 2020 token. I mean, this is like a cool moment that can happen. It's kind of hard to like main deck that card, and it's kind of hard to like build your entire game plan around it. But there's probably something to what you're saying. I think I just kind of like to cast the Priest of Rites here. And then I can, like, next turn bring back Griselbrand, and then if they Living End, I get the Priest back, and then I can also Goryo's Vengeance plus Ephemerate the Griselbrand. Yeah, Living End is just always such a good matchup for these decks. Oh, sorry, I need to now evoke the Solitude, I think. And then I could exile my own Priest if I want to for 2 more life. I think that's probably fine. We're gonna have plenty of cards. Opponent's really just trying to beat the Griselbrand. I don't know how it's gonna work out for them. Do you see the Tamashii Lotus deck? I've seen it, yeah. I think that deck loses so much value when if people know what's up, if people know, and they probably have a bounce spell for this actually. Yeah, but if people know what's up with that deck, it loses a lot of equity. Yeah, if they just have a turtle, I guess we're in bad shape. Kind of the perfect draw if they have the turtle with like the 3 Riverwinders being hexproof for my Solitude. Not much I can do about it either. I think I need to like find a Solitude white card plus other good cards here. Well, now I just kind of pretty forced. Did find Solitude. It's so tough. If I left up Ephemerate, I guess we're probably doing okay. But now we get to go gain 7 up to 14, chump block, and the next turn we can Goryo's Vengeance Griselbrand and block and Ephemerate, so we're probably doing okay. My favorite Aether Vial deck's gotta be Goblins. Alright, so take 10. Gain 3, so down to 7. We can also grief them. I think I will pitch a Priest first. If I need to grief again, I'll pitch the Obzedat. Should you have drawn 7 when they end up Living In to discard something for Goryo's? Yes. I think so. They have all the other Living Ins in their hand. Maybe not, actually, I'm not sure. Sorry for the wishy-washy answer. Cause I don't know, cause like I don't think they were gonna Living End again. So not having to go to discard is probably more relevant. Okay, so again, plan is discard this Griselbrand. Yeah, this deck has been great so far. I'm really proud of it. We've been talking about it, like, I had the first idea for it a few days ago. I can't remember when. But I've been really excited to bust it out. Just like, I wanted to wait on it until it was ready. Finally feels ready. Alright, obviously if they drew another Force of Negation or another turtle off the top, we lose. But they're pausing, so definitely doesn't seem like that's what they're on. Will I ever return to Boros Stoneblade? Of course, I love that deck. Love that deck. Let's go. So their hand is 2 Living Ends and a mystery card. Should we done this enough? Keep to dodge the draw. Well, I think I want to make them attack so I can eat a Riverwinder. I think that's better. Because I don't want them to leave back all the Riverwinders. Because then I can't attack this turn. I think I should attack. And then I'm not sure if I play... I guess I can go Mending up to 13. No, then I can't fetch Shock. Yeah, let me just play the Jace. I can take 10. I could play around Violent Outburst with a Chump Block, maybe. And it's 2 Living Ends and 2 mystery cards. Yeah, I'll play around the Violent Outburst. This also maybe lets me draw 7 next turn. Okay, they can't Living End again. Pretty important info. It might just be best to like Prismatic. Okay, that was the last mystery card. I'm definitely attacking. It might just be best to Prismatic Ending the Shardless Agent, and I don't add a Violent Outburst. Like, I just try to fade exactly Turtle. Yeah, I think we'd be. I guess they could play a Chump Blocker potentially. Ryan the Mind, thank you for the 7 months. Appreciate you. Think Iona Shield of Mary has a place in the deck. I don't know. It is cool that you can Ephemerate it. I think I like that how the list is. You can still draw an Ephemerate to dodge the turtle. That's true, yeah. That's true. But not if they attack first. Okay, up a game in what I think is probably a very good matchup. I'm going to bring in the Thoughtseizes, the Teferis, the Dam, maybe Brutality, maybe not Brutality. Oh, Brutality, there's any discard outlet's good. Actually, we got the Prismatic Endings. Maybe an issue of too many good cards in this matchup. I think we actually cut the Priests. Priests are really slow. And like, because they're doing half the battle for us by bringing creatures back. Yeah, maybe just cut the Dam. Could cut the second Obzedat. Kind of like that. What's the difference between this and Archon Reanimator? This list seems to be more powerful, more resilient to removal spells on your payoff creature, less resilient to cheap removal spells on like your Jace and your Priest of Fell Rites. This list is also like more all in, but it's also true that Goryo's Vengeance being an instant is more powerful than Persist. Like there's been like twice already that we've like been able to like Vengeance in response to a Nile Spellbomb activation. No, I think you need Brutality. I think just any discard outlet's really strong. Because you, of course, just like being able to discard your Griselbrand just makes it so tough for them to fight through as the Living End deck. You can instant Goryo, get access to strip opponent's hands. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll reread Jin Gitaxis. It could be better than Obzedat. But Obzedat's black and white for Grief and Solitude, which is really important. Is it not J-I-N? Why does it only show me Probe? I don't know how to spell Gitaxis. It's a hyphen. Okay. Weird. You give your Instruct draw 7. Opponent's max hand size reduced by 7. Yeah, it might be better than Obzedat. I don't actually know. Okay, let's keep this. I think I'm probably just gonna go turn 1, discard Obzedat. You do in their instep, they dump their hand, then you instep, you draw 7. Yeah, I know how the card works. And you get Ephemerate the Jin Gitaxis too. Yeah, Obzedat pitching is really important though. I agree. Yeah, Obzedat being hard castable is also really nice. It's a lot of equity. Against Graveyard Hate, just hard cast this is a good way to win. Yeah, I don't know. We could maybe play one Jinga Taxis over the main deck Collective Brutality. I really wish we just had more time, to be honest. Okay, yeah, let me just turn one discard Obzedat here. I really wish we had more time because it's like we've got the PTQ in an hour. And like just feels like a little risky to slam the Kataxis in the deck. Gives you an out to bridge. Yeah. Well, we have Prismatic Ending though, so it's not necessarily really a concern. Yeah, Obzedat dying to heat does kind of stink, but it's also true there aren't nearly as many heats as there used to be. And you can also just side them out against the heat decks. Okay, Foundation Breaker, which doesn't really hit anything. I guess I should actually take the Living In so they can't draw Grief. And then Grief my Vengeance. Yeah, the PTQ is modern. Why not Thoughtseize? Thoughtseize myself. It's just way better to go to discard. And save the Thoughtseize to pitch to the Grief. Just way better to, like, you don't have to use the card if I just go to discard here. They did draw the Grief. I'll take the Breaker just because it's a 4-mana 2/2, I guess. Don't think the Grief's gonna be that relevant going forward. Yeah, this matchup is really good. I need to make sure I don't mess up the Obzedat trigger stacking. I know I've played Obzedat Vengeance decks in the past. I have messed up the stacking. Where you have to do it. You have to click it like this. Exile the Obzedat before the Vengeance exiles it. Yeah, PTQ is in like it's like in 48 minutes from now. We don't need all of our enablers. We would want it over another payoff. I don't know. Like I think 8 enablers is maybe fine. We're also 4080. We're also 4080 in this league. It's been very powerful so far. Let's get a trophy prediction going. I'm gonna get a drink. Like 3-mana creatures that die to most removal spells, and you need to untap with to get value out of them. And there's kind of like no shortage of cards that meet those conditions, and Knight of the Reliquary is one of those. And I can't think of any of them that are playable. But yeah, just I don't know if you posted the link in the chat, Frost, but just post it in the chat. I'll take a look. No way, Living End again? Living End again? So lucky. So freaking lucky. Alright. Let me, give me a second. Needles, Urn Orb, Saga. Black for Discord spells. I do think the Discord spells are pretty important in decks like this. Slow your opponents down. I'd probably be playing 4 Prismatic Endings over the pushes. Well, this looks not that half bad. Like, I don't think that Knight is that good. I will say that. But you have 1 Knight as a traverse target. It's acceptable. So I'm probably supposed to Solitude the Grief in response to the Evoke. Yeah, I usually take this line. I'm not sure. Is the Lich Phoenix deck update on Stream Decker? It should be, yeah. Starfig with Twitch Prime, appreciate you. I played it last week, 2 weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago. I feel like this list, for what it is, I like it. I don't think there's actually like almost any changes I'd make. Like I like the 1 Loam, I like 6 discard spells, I like 4 Thoughtseize. I like Prismatic Ending over Push. I don't think there's any other Urza Saga target I'd really want to play. I think I like the main deck a lot. Besides that one change. I think you've done a great job putting it together. I'm not saying it's going to be better than like other versions like this, but I do like the main deck. I would probably play a second Boseiju in the sideboard over the Assassin's Trophy. I'm thinking, I can Grief Ephemerate here. I think I'm gonna wait. The Goryo's Vengeance is just too good, I think. Yeah, I'd play the second Boseiju over the Assassin's Trophy. I like the Culling Rituals. I like the 2-2 split of Culling Ritual, Force of Vigor. You could play like 2 Fatal Push in the board, but obviously if you move the endings to the main deck, then you get to open up some sideboard slots. I'd like to see maybe the first Nile Spellbomb in the main deck, actually. Yeah, I would like to. I want to main deck a Nile Spellbomb over the Soul Guide Lantern, and then I want to sideboard the Lantern to get around Leyline. So maybe you can sideboard a second. Sideboard a second Lantern over one of those Prismatic Ending spots. 2 Fatal Push, maybe 1 more Endurance, maybe not. You got a lot of options, obviously. The world's pretty much your oyster. Trying to think if Damping Sphere is the card I want to play as your Tron Titan hates. Not sure if there's something better. You can maybe play Break the Ice. Braden, thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you. How much? I don't know that there's a good option. Yeah, 2 Living End opponents in a row. Living End is a popular deck. I think I'm still waiting. I'd really like to draw another black card, just to Grief before I do this to play around Force, or just wait in general here. Yeah, I'm really favored in this matchup, though. I just, like, we just crushed him, actually, but, like, they reanimate my Griselbrands for me a lot of the time. Why not Goryo's Griselbrand there? I'm playing around Force of Negation, and I'm also, like, their game plan is, like, doesn't do very much against me, although double Waker of Waves is something. Maybe supposed to respond. Let's see what happens. Is there a picture of the finished paintings, a commission for the trophy race? I think that Ginger and Meninone and Tutors all posted them to the Twitter. I don't think I ever posted them, though. You can go to their individual Twitters and follow them and look there. Marty Reanimator won Sunday Challenge, so Graveyard Hate's gonna be everywhere. I don't know. Sunday Challenge is like... The Sunday Challenge after a showcase challenge on Saturday is not actually something I think that people put that much stock into. Maybe was I supposed to evoke this Solitude? No, I think I'm supposed to Ephemerate it. Ephemerate this one. Do I sign in Voidwalker in Living in matchup play mono black? Yes, Voidwalker is very good against them. Yeah, if your Voidwalker's in the graveyard and they Living End actually gets exiled with a Void counter and you can cast Living End. And also, like, even though it is slow in the draw, it's like, it's still Graveyard Hate against Living End. You're gonna want to board it then. Graveyard Hate against Living End? Yeah, you're gonna want to board that in right there. That would be $5 a month for the rest of your life. We're gonna draw 7. Ephemerate up for the Bounce Turtle. Well, I can try to draw into an Ephemerate. Maybe I'm supposed to evoke Solitude, though, then Ephemerate that Solitude. Does kind of seem like they've got the Bounce Turtle. Bouncing the Solitude. It's pretty good for me, I think. I could draw another 7. Why not? Alright. Failed to find a Ephemerate, unfortunately. That being said, I do think I'm going to go down to 1 and cast a Mending. So I can get Obzedat in the yard and bring that back potentially. I think we discard Griselbrand. Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to discard the ending. I thought I clicked undo on the discard. I guess it didn't take. But second Griselbrand in the yard would have been pretty nice here. Okay, so we are going to Solitude the Waker so we can gain more life. I guess I'm gonna Grief. Grief pitch. Griselbrand? I might wanna Goryo's my Griselbrand. Hold on. Grief pitch Grief? I think we Grief pitch Grief. Yeah, I think that might be a bug. I think you undo a card selection like that. You should be able to undo like those discard things. I think we even did it for discarding the hand size, like just like last game. Yeah, so I think this is game 1. So I think we're gonna go Solitude, pitch, Ending, Exile, Waker, so we can gain the max amount of life here, and then we can go discard Griselbrand to hand or Goryo's Vengeance, Obzedat. Goryo's Vengeance, the Obzedat, and then I think I don't flicker it. But I'm also going to play my land, obviously. Solitude now. So I have to discard less cards. Because I should have exiled the Curator before this. And then I could play Jace, potentially, over second Goryo's Vengeance. And the second Vengeance is just so good. I have to flicker? No, Obzedat's a May ability. Could also just Brutality, kill the agent. Exile the... You'll have to exile it if I don't flicker. Oh, right, because the Goryo's Vengeance. Okay, so maybe we just play the... Maybe we just play the Jace then. 11. I guess Brutality means I don't die to Violent Outburst. Yeah, sorry, you're right. I do have to flicker. Yeah, I think I'll just 3-modes this. I'm really worried I'm going to mess up the trigger stacking. I just played... I'm so worried. How's Jace been? I've been liking the Jaces a lot. Like, they work well with the Vengeance plan, of course. Went through counter magic through Jace, but I guess I'm a bit confused. Oh, sorry, I missed what the comment was about. Just talking about Jace in general in the deck. That says GG. GG to you. That was game 1. So we're currently 4-0-8-0. I guess 4-0-9-0. If we win this game, we're gonna have a flawless league, and I think we'll feel pretty comfortable submitting this in the PTQ. So last time I cut the Priests and the Prismatic Endings, and then I cut the second Obzedat. I did win game 2 with Obzedat last time, though. I think I need to leave in all the Ephemerates. Just so important with Griselbrand. Did I craft the deck? Yeah. Basically everything you see me play on stream is a brew of mine, with very few exceptions over the years, and I usually make a big point when there is an exception to that rule. Cut Jace 4 over Obzedat 2. Maybe. This is kind of slow. But discard outlets are so good, and they also can't kill the Jace. I think maybe cutting Solitude 4. Why the Jace is discard out? Yeah, you need like at least 8 discard outlets. We have 9 with 4 Jace, 4 Mending, 1 Brutality. In this list, I think you need 8, and then you can also Goryo's Vengeance your Jace, and then flip the Jace, which is really good. I'll just do this. Need for Teferi. Teferi is really good against Living End. I don't think that you need for the sideboard necessarily. Like, you know, it's a new brew. Sideboards are the last thing that gets solved. You just beat Death Shadows 4 before the lost. GG. GG heaven. Is Damn actually bad for the second Living End? It's not bad, but like we have kind of an embarrassingly good matchup here, right? We just have, it's not that we have like, you know, just nothing but good cards in this matchup. I don't think you need the Damn. And Damn's also pretty bad against Grief, too. Is Thoughtseize relevant? I think it is. Like, being able to get Endurance out of their hand, I think is really important. Okay, like definitely like this hand enough to keep it. Yeah, it can also be a Discord outlet if you want it to be. But like here's the thing though. Like people always go, "Oh, Thoughtseize is a Discord outlet in these decks," and it is under like just the very most like technically you're right kind of terms. You know what I mean? Like it like barely counts as a Discord outlet. Although I know I just said all this. I am gonna Thoughtseize myself in turn 1 against this Leyline of Sanctity. I should have played the Courtyard. But like just this stops the turn 3 living in from getting me. Why 0 persist? Persist doesn't bring back legendary creatures. Yeah. I know. As soon as I'm saying it, I do it. But like thought like as someone who's played a lot of these decks, like you are usually not Thoughtseizing yourself. It does come up sometimes, but it's like it's not a real discard outlet. It's just like kind of like an extra mode on the card that doesn't come up often. Or a dedicated discard outlet, I guess. Is it always correct to use your sideboard to hedge against your worst matchups as opposed to just trying to dodge it? The correct thing to do with your sideboards is always to maximize your overall win percentage, and then that's like doing that is going to be different, or how you do that is different for different decks. But the goal should always be maximize your overall win percentage. Well, I mean, my opponent definitely has the nuts here if they have Living End, which looks like they do. Leyline into Endurance into Living End on turn 3. Not that this game is over, but they definitely have had the nuts. So I think our flawless victory is probably not going to happen here. Although I guess I do get to go hardcast Grief and then Solitude. Grief trade with this, Solitude the Curator. Okay, hold on. Is it better to do that or to chump block the Endurance, take 6, and then try to draw a white card and then go Solitude Ephemerate? Solitude Ephemerate, exile these 2, block here. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't get to keep my Solitude with the other line. So I think I'll just do this. I'll exile the Curator now so they also can't, like, scry. Drawing is the winning play? I don't know if that's true, because I don't get to keep the Solitude in play. And, like, I have 3 turns to find an answer to this, either, like, Teferi, or, like, you know, Faithful Mending, or, like, you know, white card Solitude. I didn't draw the white card, for whatever that's worth. Yeah. And that's obviously hard to beat the nut draw there, too. Okay, I'm gonna click submit. And hope. We do have Teferi as an answer to the ley lines, but not a perfect league, unfortunately. Oof, 0 graveyard hate in the board. What do you need graveyard hate for? Oof, 0 graveyard hate on the board. Yeah, I don't feel like this is a deck that needs graveyard hate at all. I guess if we end up playing the mirror match, that would be bad. Yeah, I lost because I Thoughtseize myself. That's funny. March might be fine after seeing Leyline. It's just like so hard to answer Leyline with March though. I mean, definitely keeping this. Yeah, I am playing the PTQ in half an hour, and I think I'm playing this. I wasn't planning on playing this, but it's just been so impressive today. Alright, our hand's not that bad against Leyline. I want to play this game too. They kept another 7-card Leyline hand though. Yikes. Really? Why do I hate myself? What's the... I'm confused what the point you're trying to make is, Magus. And aggressively cycle in. I guess I'll shock in case I end up going for Mending plus Ephemerate this turn. So it looks like they have Endurance, maybe not. Definitely, they're acting like they've got Endurance. It could be a clever bluff. I'm just gonna untap, I think. Waker of Waves. This deck is sneaky good or potential to meta. I don't know. Like, it's just too early for me to say. Like these Reanimator style decks are really easy to run hot with, like we are, and you just like, ah, this deck is great. But it's also true, like, you need to run hot to win a PTQ anyways. You know what I mean? Like the best strategy to win a PTQ is absolutely run well all day. And if you're gonna run well with a deck, like, this is like the kind of deck to do it with. Was pitching Grief here bad? I think evoking Grief just to get in the yard against a leyline is bad here. When I have a looter. I do think just putting it in the yard for living in is fine. Okay, I like that a lot. So this way, if they endurance me, I still can get a Griselbrand into play. I think Glimpse combo is a good spot. I think Glimpse is a very good deck that's like underplayed because it's complicated, and I think the overall player base doesn't respect it very much. Can they set up a living in that beats Griselbrand? They probably can't set up a living in that beats Griselbrand plus Solitude Ephemerate. That would be my guess. At least not like for... It would take several turns. And like we are also drawing to a Teferi, which like forces them to act. We've got 4 Teferis in the deck. I'm gonna try to hold the Solitude in the hand to try to play around Endurance though. I'll just discard a Thoughtseize. Summon cards in their hand. Doesn't do anything on the instep, so they're out of cyclers in theory. I only get one more tap of this Jace, so I think I'm just untapping here. Passing. I might hardcast this Obzedat. If I hardcast Obzedat, my opponent goes Endurance, Violent Outburst. I get to evoke only 1 Solitude. But then I do get to discard Griselbrand. Solitude comes back. I think I'll wait. I don't think casting Obzedat's good. Yeah, I am playing the Super Qualifier. My plan is if I end up doing like a super late run in the Super Qualifier, and because I started on time today, and so just like things may end up going really long. My plan is just going to be... Okay, interesting. Yeah, I want to be able to Mending Griselbrand and Obzedat into the yard in response to an Endurance, or after an Endurance happens. But my plan is going to be to take tomorrow off if I do like a 10, 12-hour stream today. Any merit to flash in Solitude for beats? The problem is if I tap out and they have Endurance Violent Outburst, I lose. Don't you want to take the draw step before flipping Jace? No, I was thinking if I drew Goryo's Vengeance, then I would cast Goryo's Vengeance here. Jace also gets got by Leyline, right? Yeah. I can maybe invoke them to do something by sacking Silent Clearing end of turn. But if I sack Silent Clearing, then I lose to the Endurance. So tough. Cycles Riverwinder. Stinks I just can't find a Teferi or a Goryo's Vengeance. Okay, we found a Goryo's Vengeance. Pretty good chance this just gets forced. I think I like maybe main phasing this is bad. Yeah, it does get forced. All right, pass back. I think that's fine. I don't think we, like, devastated to have that happen. Yeah, I just need to complain a little bit more. Any changes I would make? I think like the sideboard may make some changes, and like I kind of am interested in playing like some number of Jin Taxis, but I'm like a little scared to do that. Yeah, they don't seem like they've got any more cyclers in their hands, so I do think we're still likely to beat a living end. This is only target opponents, not target player. Yeah, target opponent. There's also like a chance that they end up drawing all their living ends over the course of this game. But they have no lands and no more cyclers, presumably, here. They're going to discard. They discard a Leyline of Sanctity. We're going to go to discard, and I'm going to discard a Thoughtseize. Why not JVP Flashback Vengeance? Force of Negation, exile the Goryo's Vengeance. What a weird game. I will ultimate the Jace because I'm sorry, stuttering all day today. Because I can flip this one, and then I can also win as soon as I find Teferi to bounce the Leyline, or not as soon as, but like I'm likely able to. I have 4 Teferis. I haven't drawn any in the first 24 cards. Should be hardcasting the dude soon. Well, I can't hardcast anything until I have the Mending plus Ephemerate up, I think. Yeah, Jace doesn't do anything against Leyline, but I've got outs to Leyline, and I get to keep the emblem in play. Okay, so they have enough creatures in the yard that it is going to be tough to fight your living in potentially. Again, I'm holding this Mending to play around Endurance. I think it might be time for hardcast Obzedat. Wait, does this target? No, it does target. Oh, man. Yeah, I know it can attack for 5 next turn. Alright, is this where something finally happens? Might be losing. Okay, they're not doing anything, so I think that's something I am okay with. I don't think I'm supposed to sack the clearing end of turn. Another Mending is actually a pretty good draw. But now I think I'm just going to hit my opponent for 5, and then what I can do is, if my opponent still does nothing, is I can just cast a Solitude and present lethal. Yeah, I think that forcing my Mending is pretty scary, so that's why I'm also pretty happy to have second Mending. I guess this doesn't work necessarily, but doing this on their instep makes it harder for them to like do all the things and force, you know. There's also like an okay chance that they like have drawn all their living ends. Like that maybe is just what happened this game. $19 cards revealed. Living End goes on the stack. I think I'm just gonna let this go because if I do anything else, I may be called to an Endurance. And I can also potentially dig for a Teferi and just try to win this turn. Yeah, I think they're trying to bait the Endurance there, so I think just like letting this go is like pretty fine. Yeah, but if I get, I also don't like the problem with like trying to draw into Teferi here is that it's really unlikely that the Teferi resolves. But if I draw 7, I feel like I'm almost guaranteed to find one. Is opponent gonna bounce the turtle? Spending 4 mana in response to Otawara. So I could just draw 7 more and be all in on the Teferi. I could also like try to like I think I could just try to draw 2 Teferis too and probably win. Still no Teferi. Okay, we have 4 Teferis in the deck and the 26 cards. I think just trying to hope that... Yeah, I didn't cite in the Dam. The Dam's just so bad against Grief. Okay, there's 2 Teferis. So I think this one gets forced. And then like they have to have all 4 force negations, you know, drawn in order to get me. So Force Pitch Agent. I guess I can play this to pay. Bounce the Leyline. Grief, pitch Griselbrand. We're gonna be able to mill them out. Let's go! I really want to see if they had the endurance too. That if they're trying to bait with the endurance, they have to have had it. Oh, they didn't have it. Oh wow. This game is over. We have plenty of spells to cast. Didn't think I'd be winning with the JVP emblem today. Oh my gosh, I almost cast this Thoughtseize. I'm at 2 life. That would have been so embarrassing. I can exile my own creature here. Forgot I was at 2. Alright, they're dead, right? Guess I can Thoughtseize to double check, put against the GGs. Grief to double check. Okay, 5-0, 8-2 on the day. Feeling amazing. Feeling amazing. PTQ's in like 10 minutes. I think we found our deck. Yeah, only lost 1 game. I really like this deck.